Hey there, this is Joe. Welcome back to Financial Wellness University. If this is your first time here at Wellness University, I just ask that you hit that like button so that we can get the word out. Subscribe and hit that little bell so that you'll be notified as new videos come available. And today, I want to have a conversation around debt. Debt. I teach through my system. I teach financial wellness through a system I developed called the 7 Phases of Financial Wellness. And phase 4 deals with protect. Protect money. What's the tension, or what's the position that we should take as it pertains to debt when it comes to protecting your wealth, protecting your money? Stay tuned. All right, so we want to, as I said earlier, let's have a conversation around debt. Is there good debt? Is there bad debt? I have a question for everyone. How has debt served you? How has debt played a role? Really, if you ask yourself, how many of you out there are better off because of the debt in your life? Now, I'm familiar with a passage in the Bible from Proverbs 6:5. It says, "Free yourself from debt like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter." Free yourself from debt like the gazelle from the hand of the hunter. Why would God give us a warning as it pertains to debt? Why would God give us that warning? When I look at those wildlife videos and you see the cheetah face chasing that gazelle, and that gazelle is not trotting. That gazelle is not walking away. That gazelle is running for its dear life. Is that the picture that we should do when it comes to debt? Now, here's my philosophy. The less debt you have, the stronger you are financially. The less debt, your debt to net worth ratio should be as small as it can be. And of course, the smallest it can be is 0. Now, some of you saying, well, what about all those people who have, changed their life because of debt? And well, I say to you, what of all the people who have changed their life because of no debt? See, bragging about being debt-free isn't popular because we have governments who go into debt, companies who go into debt, friends and relatives who go into debt. So we start to look at debt. Oh, debt is normal. But if we go back in history long enough, we realize that debt wasn't as common in the past as it was today. People used to buy their cars cash. There wasn't credit cards 100 years ago. Now there was, in fact, our currency was based on bartering. You have something, you trade it for this. And then some genius figured out a way to give a person credit. to say, well, let me take this and I'll sign a promissory note. I'll sign a note promising to pay you back at a certain time. Now, that's the way of the world. Debt. You're bringing out your card to pay for stuff. Keep in mind, in the past, people also could go to jail, be imprisoned, be subjected to involuntary servitude for not paying their debts. So, how good really is debt? Well, I suggest that the more interest that is due to you strengthens you more than the interest that you have to pay to other people. Let me say that again. The more interest that is due to you strengthens you more than the interest that you owe to someone else, to another entity. Believe it or not, there's companies, large companies, that have zero to very little debt compared to their net worth. How do they do it? One, they start small. They build up, and then they build up more. And then, as a way to raise money rather than borrow, they just become a publicly traded company. So they can sell shares of their company to raise money for expanding rather than borrowing. And it boggles my mind that someone who is already super rich would borrow money. Why would you borrow money? Because you think you're now you think you're doing something, but everybody's not good at it. Now, you look at that cheetah and gazelle, the gazelle gets away maybe 9 out of 10 times. That's just the life of that. But don't let that fool you to believe that you're not the one that gets caught. See, everybody thinks I'm not going to get caught. But when it comes to percentages, it's more than 1 out of 10 that gets caught with debt. It's more like 9 out of 10. Ask your own self a question. How has debt benefited your life? How has owing someone every time you get paid felt? I understand the idea of enjoying stuff. I like to enjoy stuff also. But I also like the feeling of knowing when I get paid, I don't owe anyone. I don't have to owe anyone, and no one's going to come after me if I don't pay them. Because I've freed myself of all consumer debt. Now, I still have a mortgage, and I'm striving to pay that as quick as possible. Which brings me to the next point. Why do we spend 30 years paying down something that we could easily pay in 7 to 10 years? Why would you want to pay debt for 30 years when you can eliminate it in 7 to 10 years? Why? Because that's the norm. So we do what the norm is. Yeah, 30 years will give you a lower payment. But when you look at it compared with the interest, you've paid so much more in 30 years than you would have paid in 20 years, in 15 years, in 10 years. Why? Because that interest, first of all, the banks, the mortgage companies, they're not in the business to do this for us. They're in the business to make money. So our loans for houses are front loaded with the interest. So in years 1 through 10, it's more interest payments than there are principal payments. as you get to year 20 through 30, yeah, it's probably going to be more principal payments, but they've already made all their money. That's why they always trying to get us to refinance, because once we refinance, we start the process all over again. We start the process all over again. Now another 30 years, and now they front load the loan again with all interest. So rather than refinance, unless you're in dire situation, find a way to make extra money on the side, or sell, downsize. But let's not make debt our default position, because if it is, we'll always use debt as a way to get out of a situation, to improve a situation. But in reality, the more debt we have, the deeper the hole we're digging. We're not getting out of the hole by getting the more debt. We're making the hole that we're in deeper. And I know there's always going to be the argument, that's good debt, there's bad debt. Well, think about that cheetah and the gazelle. Are there any good cheaters? When you're a gazelle, are you friends with any cheaters? Think about it as a debtor. Are you friends with your debtor? Well, don't pay for a month or two and see how friendly they are. You know, within that little fine print in a lot of loans, they could default if you not pay. Some of them, if you miss one payment, that's considered a default, and they can ask for the whole balance at one time. Now we're in a period where a lot of people can't pay, having problems, having struggles paying things. I want to encourage you to not take this time to use debt as a solution, but be creative, be resourceful, and find alternative sources of income. There's online income. There's sources, or look within yourself. There's skills that you have that someone can benefit from. Because if you go into debt, now you're going to owe someone from that moment forward until that debt is paid. And if we're going to go into debt, make it for something that's essential, like going into debt for a home. And even that, there's parameters that I'll talk about in another video, where we don't get over our head when it comes to buying a home. But we never should borrow money for items that go down in value right away. And I know people are going to say, oh, how you do that? Well, car is one of those things that goes down in value right away. Find a way to save and get a used car, and then the money that you would have put to the car loan, save that up so that within a year or two, you'll have enough to buy another car for cash and use the same system and keep moving up, rather than spend $30,000, $40,000 in total to get a car that might be worth 15, 20,000 in the end. Debt is a part of our society, but just because a lot of people look at it as a norm doesn't mean it's good. Doesn't mean. I believe you protect yourself better when you eliminate debt. You protect your wealth. You protect your potential for financial freedom. There's more ways than just the debt solution. Be resourceful. Be creative. And continue to employ all the phases of financial wellness. I just want to encourage you. Be blessed.